Hi, my name is Thabo Dabengwa, and I am the manager of a digital company called ReelAfrican, which is a VOD distribution and aggregation company.
And Thabo, you're in the process of making a piece of short form content. Describe to me, what the story is and why you're doing it.
Absolutely. So we saw a need in Africa, that short form was something that, a lot of Africans were picking up, especially on Facebook, social media platforms. Instagram has got about 30 seconds that you upload short form content. So we saw that short form content, especially with the expense of data costs in Africa, that people really are looking for something short and effective, but that tells a story and that they can engage with around Africa. So part of our strategy is to open up some short form content, which is what we started to do. So we started creating short form content that we think will resonate across Africa. We've also seen that, mobile operators in Africa, are opening up to short form, and they also believe that content is king. So, mobile operators are it's easier to see a shorter film on a mobile operator because the data costs aren't as expensive as if you were putting a longer film on there. So mobile operators across Africa are looking at short form content and a way to obviously generate revenue from the short form content, and that's really been our issue, is around how do we generate revenue around
how are you proposing to generate
short form content. And there are a couple of ways, right? One of the ways is obviously through the short form, through the mobile operation partnerships that we're looking at launching.
Revenues.
So it's sharing the revenue, and also having subscriptions. So we've got subscription models with mobile operators that then help us generate some revenue. But also, Facebook is doing a lot of stuff around, video content, and AVOD. So AVOD is very popular, or becoming very popular across Africa. Advertising.
For those who might not know what AVOD means.
Okay, advertising video on demand, right? So pre-rolls, mid-rolls, end rolls. YouTube does it pretty well. So they do it, that's YouTube's business model, right? Is around AVOD model. But in smaller scale content, right, we haven't taken it off YouTube. And I think that's where the shift is, right? It's moving that content off YouTube and putting it on platforms, social media platforms like Facebook, like Instagram, and mobile operators.
And indeed WhatsApp, you and I were talking about.
And WhatsApp, exactly, and WhatsApp,
series.
Exactly. There's a South African series that has WhatsApp now that has launched, 30-second to 1 minute series on WhatsApp. And really that's the way to go around short form content, I think, going forward.
What's the story in the short form series and what's it called?
Sure, so it's called Malanzani, right? Now, I don't know if you've ever seen in South Africa where people tease each other, right, on the streets, and they call each other names. There's sometimes old people that call young boys different names, and sometimes the young boys call the old people other names. And we're really creating short 30-second to 1 minute clips around, the environments of this happening. And I think it happens across Africa, right, just in different ways. So we're creating a short form around that. It's called Malanzani, which is really teasing in a sense, right?
So it's like a kind of vox pop in a way?
Yes, it is, but it's more of a comedy. I don't know if MTV has had a show like it before, but it's about making you laugh, exactly. So it's a comedy show that basically makes you laugh around teasing. People teasing each other about their different lifestyles or their age or who they are, and exactly the issues that they're dealing with. So that's really what it is, and we think that it's a universal issue. Right, whether you're in Uganda, Kenya, Nigeria, there's always a version. There's smaller versions of it. Nigeria has done it really well around doing these like short form comedy shows. So has Uganda, and Kasima's done a lot of that short form stuff. But I don't think we've seen something that compares different ages. And also teases those different ages, or and I think that will really travel across Africa for us, right?
And you're shooting this on iPhones?
Yeah, so we're shooting this on iPhone 7s, is where we're shooting it, and we've attached an adapter. We're going to attach an adapter to it called the B-Script, And the B script basically gives us the ability to then attach lenses, whether it be prime lenses, zoom lenses, on these adapters to be able to now shoot this content easily and effectively, right?
Gives you an incredibly light camera.
Yes, incredibly light and incredibly intense in terms of quality of content, right? So remember the iPhone 7 shoots on 4K. So that's pretty much like having better than a 5D actually. So we've got a high quality camera that's agile, that we're able to get, great content, short form content out. And I think what's important for us is obviously the ability to release content very quickly, and create content very quickly, and put it onto digital platforms and social media. So the refresh rate is going to become very important for us, especially around short form content.